All right, let's go ahead and get started. Welcome. Let's not save that. Welcome to the AutoUFOs session, where we provide you a mechanical way to buy and sell in any market with a high probability. Today, we're back to the Vitamin T series, going over TradingView, the second session so far. I'll be going into detail on what the AutoUFO app is, how to use it, and where you can obtain it yourself. Before we get started, let me read these disclaimers. The following videos, clips, demonstrations are for educational purposes and instructional purposes only. TradingView provides these videos purely for the purpose of demonstrating a method of using the product. Users understand that all the content used in the video is purely for demonstration purposes only, and it's not a guide and does not provide any indication or prediction of actual results. As a result, you understand and agree that hypothetical results obtained through the demonstration do not indicate in any way the result you may receive on using our products. My name is Brian Benatti. Again, today we're covering the trading basics from the Vitamin T series on AutoUFOs. If you have any questions, feel free to type it in the chat. I'll try to get to you as I see them or by the end of the session. So, the AutoUFOs app. Let me start by going over some market fundamentals. It is an economic theory and proven that markets move when the buyers and sellers are out of balance. This can go from any market and anywhere in the world. A quick example that I could think of would be something like the Black Friday. So I am personally looking for a TV, and I see one that I know is going to be advertised for $400 on Black Friday. And me, being this blue guy here, goes in line for Best Buy, let's say, and I'm last in line. There's 5 people in front of me, but there's only 2 available TVs for us to buy at $400. So we're all willing to buy the TV at $400, and the TVs themselves are worth $400 and are being sold at that price. But because there's only 2 TVs, the first 2 people in line get the TVs that they want with the money that they brought, and the rest of us are left empty-handed. So we have no TVs available. We have 4 available buyers to buy those TVs at $400. So what happens next? Well, because it's an illiquid market, there's a ton of TVs of the same exact model and year available, but at the retail price of $599. So we have here this big gap between what the buyers are willing to buy for at $400 and what the TVs are now being sold at $599. So the 2 people that were able to buy the TVs are now out of the picture, and the 2 TVs that were available are also out of the picture, and the only thing that's left is the next available price. And because this is a very liquid market, the next available price for that TV would be the wholesale value of $599. So this exact principle could happen in the markets. So I'm going to bring up a chart of Netflix, for example. This again is TradingView, which we set up in our last video. If you haven't seen that, it will be in the history of our YouTube channel. You can review that real quick. I'm going to maximize our top left portion of the chart here, and that'll bring up the price history of Netflix on a 5-minute chart you can see from the top left here. For now, I'm going to hide the AutoUFOs because I want to go into detail afterward. But for now, I just want to explain again price action, because that is the core behind why we trade using AutoUFOs. So if we look at today, the 19th, the market opened at a value of $306.95. The day before, it closed at $302.72. So the day before, if I or you were to go and we wanted to be a part owner or buy shares of Netflix, we could with $302 and about 80 or 79 cents. We could buy this share of Netflix, and we would be owners of that share. But the next day, the available sellers for this market at Netflix weren't priced until this value of $307 and approximately 7 cents. Actually, I could even go to the close of the open of the candle. We can see the different values, but we can eyeball it here so we can understand the example. So there's this big gap in difference here where there's no candle here, because at the open, when the market opened, the previous close had buyers and sellers that were, or buyers that were willing to buy the market at $302.80 something cents. But since there was a period where the market was closed and when we opened again, then the available sellers were $307. So I couldn't come in like I wanted. Let's say on Friday, I really wanted to buy Netflix at that price at 302. Well, I could still be wanting to buy that market at 302, but the market is now selling at 307. The available sellers are at $307. So there's this gap, which we saw in the previous example of the real world example of TVs. If I were willing to buy that TV for $400, well, there's no more available sell orders or sell TVs at that value. So I'd have to either increase my purchase price now to $400 to $599, I believe the example was, or I'd have to wait for the TVs to go on sale again to $400, which is the price that I'm willing to be a buyer. So in any market, this is going to happen. And the reason it moves is because we run out of either buyers or sellers. And if we run out of sellers, that means the price has to go up so we can find more sellers that are willing to sell it at a more expensive price. Or if we run out of buyers, the opposite happens, where we have to go lower in price in order for us to find buyers that are willing to buy it at a cheaper price. And the more liquid the market, the less of these gaps that we'll see. So let me go back to my slide here. So AutoUFOs, how does it relate to that? Well, whenever we see, let me go back to my chart. Whenever we have different buyers and sellers in the market, we know that because these buyers were not able to buy at $302, there must be buyers that are still willing to buy it at $302. And if price does return there, we hope that the fact that those buyers still have their orders unfilled and ready to buy at 302, we would be willing buyers as well, and we could join the larger amount of people that are trying to buy those orders. So AutoUFOs is simply an indicator that finds high probability areas of potential unfilled buy and sell orders in any market out there and any time frame as well. I accidentally got rid of my chat here. Let me bring it back for a second. Okay. And hence, that's why we're indicating it with the indicator is called AutoUFOs, because it automatically finds those unfilled orders, UFOs, in the market. Hence, we have a cute little acronym, UFO, and we have our own icons being a flying saucer, or if the icon is in the trade station or TradingView, it'll be a flying saucer kind of from the top down view. So let's go back now and take a look at the markets. I'll activate the AutoUFO again. And this is using just one chart, which will be good for our one example. Let me pull you guys over to the corner here. There we go. So let's start by looking at what these different symbols mean. So green symbols for the AutoUFOs, which is our little icon here, represent areas of higher probability for buy orders that are unfilled in any market. And we have the icon itself centered around where we believe there's a higher concentration of those sell orders or buy orders, depending on the color. So again, if it's red, we believe that there's a higher probability of potential unfilled sell orders. And if it's green, it's a higher probability of unfilled buy orders. I could potentially get those mixed up while I'm talking. If I do make that mistake, you can keep me in check and we'll move forward. But keep that in mind. Green is for buy, pretty simple, and red is for sell. So again, this icon is going to be centered around our highest potential probabilities of unfilled orders. So keep an eye on where the icon is centered itself, and then the lines indicate an area where we will be willing to be the buy or the buyer in the market. So down here below, we would be willing to start our buying at $396.41. And because we are never going to be sitting in a market for forever, we also have a limit where we would change our minds if prices went below $295.46, where the meat of that higher probability potential for unfilled buy orders would be in the center here at $295.88. Okay. So what is this difference in colors between the green and the reds? So this olive, or both of the off colors, so the olive green would be lower chances or probabilities of there being the unfilled orders in this buy setup, and same with the scarlet or the maroon. These have a smaller probability chance than a red UFO would have itself. So let me go back to my slides here, where it shows a couple of written examples. So this will be a good reference point if anybody wants to go through this themselves. This is the same market using Netflix. Next, what we want to look at is calibration. So we can go inside the UFO indicator and mess with the settings for the UFO themselves and calibrate it to our own trading personalities. I do plan, because this is a more in-depth topic, I do plan on covering this more in detail in a future session. So if you want a more detailed guide than what I'm going to give you today, which is just a summary, go to our website, tradewithufos.com/bb, and you'll see on the top right, there's a guides tab. And if you select that, you'll be given two different guides, and you can select a TradingView guide, and that has a more detailed example and explanation on the different inputs and the different examples, and how you can change labels and etc. for the AutoUFOs with TradingView. So if you're anxious to get started with calibration yourself, you can jump ahead of me by using this guide. Otherwise, I will be posting a video on how you can step through the calibration yourself and get something that you find comfortable for yourself. So the summary for today is for calibration is going to be by opening your chart again on TradingView, and then selecting the little cog. It's fairly small, but below where your market is on that chart on the top left corner, you're going to see this as AutoUFOs flying saucers 0.5. It has a little eye, which again is a little show and hide of the AutoUFOs indicator on the chart. And finally, the settings, which is what we want to mess with today. So here's the calibration setting. Now what this is a way for you to calibrate this to your personality. So it ranges from 0 to 1. And if I'm not mistaken, the lower the number is usually if you're less of an active trader, and you'll see less opportunities with the AutoUFOs. Whereas if you increase this value, it will be more opportunities on each chart based on the calibration itself. So it comes with a default of 0.5, which is the middle ground. And I personally use this for a lot of different markets. And you can change this from market to market and play around with it. But make sure that you're not making this crucial mistake. Again, I don't want to go too far into depth of how to set this up today, because there is a lot that can be involved, especially you need to put in the work into understanding what the calibration is going to do on your end at the end of the day. But make sure that you're not just calibrating it for every single trade that you're doing. What you want to do is have a consistent calibration for a specific market in a specific time frame. And if it works for you, keep it consistent over a bigger sample of trades and analyze if it's consistent with how your personality would be of a trader, and if the results are exactly what you want. If not, increase it or decrease it however you want it. And again, try again. So our next session is going to be on a little more in depth on how to use AutoUFOs on a practical sense with trading with this. So I'll give you a bigger picture setup, and we'll cover some of this calibration stuff with it. And since I mentioned it, at the end of the day, when you could use AutoUFOs on their own for buy and sell setups. So I could be a buyer here at $307. I have my order setting there, 307. There it is. And whenever the market gets there, I'll be a buyer, and I'll be out of the market if it goes below 302, let's say, and I'll be out of the market again if it goes above 318, and I'll get my profit or a loss given those examples. And I could then reverse my order and be a seller here up higher at 320 and just keep going from there. So I could trade from UFOs to UFOs, but we want to stack as many odds in our favor as we can. So there are other market parameters that we'll be using and some indicators that are very common. And again, because of the constriction that I want to keep these sessions nice and focused, I want to make sure I'm only covering the essentials of AutoUFOs today. So the next session we'll be covering will be a broader view of how to use AutoUFOs with a couple other market indicators, indicators that'll help us get a bigger picture of where we need to be posed in our trading setup so that we know if we're a buyer or a seller overall. I'm not seeing any questions in the chat. Our session is almost over, so if you do have any questions, make sure to send them in. So finally, how do you obtain the app? Again, you can go to our website, tradewithufos.com/bb. And there, if you follow the instructions for setting up, you'll be taken to this little table here, which shows different plans that we have for the AutoUFOs app. Of course, the basic one is a free subscription, so you can still follow us on these trading sessions, and you'll be able to participate in all of those live sessions and recording views, recording in the YouTube. If you want to actually have the app in your TradingView, you'll be using the Pro plan. This will be a $34 per month subscription, and it does not include TradingView itself, or it does not include the TradingView subscription, which is also a Pro plan, which we do recommend. It's a very useful tool, and I'll be covering one more feature called the replay feature from TradingView that is definitely very beneficial for getting confident in markets and testing out the UFOs themselves without having to be live in the market. And finally, we have the Pro Plus, which is the trading UFOs for TradeStation themselves. And I won't go over all of the details today, but trading with TradeStation has more flexibility and is definitely more powerful than TradingView, although both are definitely very viable. So that's it for our session today. I'm not seeing any questions again, but if you want to stay in touch with us, you can email me. I'll go to the initial page here real quick. You can email me at bb@tradective.com. I'll be sure to check that out every day and help answer any questions that you may have. You can also comment in the sections below. I like to keep an eye on those, make sure that everyone's happy with the video, and if there are any questions or any errors, I can go back and check and help you guys out with that. And finally, we have a community Discord group. I'll leave that in the description below. and you can access our server, and I'm there every morning for trading live. If you guys have any questions or you want to post any setups, join us and we'll help each other out. So thanks again, everyone, for coming in. Our next session is on Wednesday at the same